You know what they say, clean paramotor is a happy paramotor. Seriously though, my propeller is probably the cleanest it's been since I took it out of the box. I normally kind of mistreat my propeller, I let it get all oily, but I picked up this cheapo ceramic coating stuff from Turtle Wax at Walmart today. I did the whole truck and I figured why not try it out on the propeller? Maybe we'll pick up a little bit more efficiency, less wind resistance, I don't know. I was actually over at the warehouse today and we are fully stocked up on 2 and 3 blade E-props for the Moster. So if you're in need of one, link is in the description to the web store. Get your E-props. I prefer the 3 blade. I've switched back and forth a couple times, but the 3 blade's what I'm sticking with. Also, when I was over there, I picked up a new delicious Twin Peaks t-shirt. If you're gonna get a prop, may as well get a Twin Peaks as well. So my plan for today, we are down at the park, which I haven't flown from here in what seems like a while. All my past videos, I've been on a trike trend. As you guys know, I got the trike. I've been flying it solo, getting accustomed to it, learning the skills before I start taking tandems, and tandems are kind of the ultimate goal for the trike. But I figured let's take a step away from the trike, let's go fly the Scoutmobile around. And I've actually seen a lot of really good questions from you guys asking questions about the trike. So one, I want to answer some questions that I've seen frequently asked about the trike. And 2, I want to give you guys some thoughts of kind of pros and cons of trike versus foot launch after I've gained a little bit of experience flying the trike. I've flown it more off camera than on camera now. So I feel like I've got my skills pretty dialed. I think I'm almost ready to do a tandem. But yeah, that's going to be the topic of conversation. The wind is still a little bit strong down here, so I'm going to give it maybe another 15 minutes before I launch. We'll buzz around, have a cool, fun discussion, and that'll be that. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Some of the fall colors are starting to show. I'm not a real big fan of fall because that means winter's coming and winter's cold. It makes flying a little bit less desirable until we travel to a warm location. So I have a sort of list of questions that I saw kind of frequently asked in the trike videos, on my Instagram posts, and all that. The first major one was some people were like, are you converting? Are you going to sell the Scout and just be a trike guy from now on? And the answer is definitely not. I got the trike as like an additional paramotor that I'm intending on primarily doing tandems with. All the flying now that I've been doing solo, I'm basically just practicing in preparation of doing tandems. And then I think once I get to that point, I'll only really be pulling the trike out as every so often thing. When I have a tandem passenger, hopefully get some veterans, hopefully get maybe someone that's disabled and would not be able to fly a paramotor otherwise. So no, I'm definitely not selling my motor and converting to full-time trike. Some people ask which do I prefer the most, and at the end of the day, I think I'm always going to prefer foot launching as long as I'm physically capable of doing it. But I really do appreciate the trike, and it's a lot of fun, and I'll get into some of the pros and cons about it in a second. So the next question, in regards to flying the trike solo, quite a few people asked if it's now classified as a light sport aircraft, or if I have to have a pilot's license, or whatever the case may be. The answer is, it doesn't change the classification at all, just by adding the wheels. All it is a paramotor. You can still call it a paramotor, but it's got wheels. It's a trike paramotor. Swoop-a-doop the trees. Winds are actually not too bad. It's a little bumpy down low, but once you get some altitude, it's perfectly smooth. And if you duck down behind the trees, it's smooth again. So the next question was a pretty good one too. Now in regards to flying a trike tandem, a lot of people were wondering how the classification changes there. Do you need a pilot's license? Do you need a commercial pilot's license? What's the deal? Tandem paramotor flight in general is only allowed for instructional purposes, and you must have an exemption, which is commonly given by the USPPA and the ASC. Now, I have that exemption. If you want to go back and watch the video, I did my training with Aviator Paramotor down in Costa Rica. I got lucky and did foot launch tandems on the beach. I got my exemption, and as long as I keep up with that every year, I can legally fly tandems. And now the other aspect of it is that it must be for instructional purposes. So technically, you can't just go out and take people for joy rides. So every time I've done a tandem in the past, we do it in an instructional manner. You're basically doing, say, an introductory flight lesson, giving someone a taste of the world of paramotoring. Maybe one day they'll want to get into it. You know, you teach them how to use the brakes, you hand them off to them in flight, and kind of let them fly, get a taste of it. So that's about all the kind of frequently asked questions I saw on the videos, but I put together a list of pros and cons. Maybe if you're someone thinking about getting into the sport and you're like, should I go foot launch or trike? This might help you. So first up, pros for the trike is you can be lazy. Like, I was doing touch and goes, and when I was packing up for the day, I was like expecting my back to be a little sore, you know, be a little winded or whatever. I was like, I've just been sitting in the seat the whole time. I felt lazy. Like, you don't have to do anything. It's zero effort, zero real physical strain on your body. Not just the running, but you don't have to carry the weight around. The next pro for the trike is that touch and goes are a lot of fun. Like, obviously you can do foot drags on a paramotor, which are fun too, but on the trike, it's just, there's something about it. Setting up a traffic pattern, coming in like an airplane, touching down on your wheels, taxiing and taking off again, it was addicting. Like, I could just do that kind of thing all night. The final pro for the trike is that it enables more. By that I mean people that are disabled, people that are maybe older and want to get into it, but they're worried about carrying the weight or tripping. It enables those types of pilots to still enjoy the sport. The other thing it enables is tandems, and easy tandems. Like I said, you can be lazy. Doing a tandem foot launch, I found out 100% when I was doing the foot launch tandems, it's hard work. When you have zero wind or not a lot of wind, I think it can actually be slightly dangerous depending on your passenger. If they trip and you both go down, you break gear. So those are the pros for the trike. Let's talk about the pros for foot launch. I think the biggest thing is the most obvious thing. I think it's just the most pure way to do it. I mean, aside from free flight, yeah, you can get more and more pure, but comparing trike to foot launch, doing it foot launch is so much more pure, like running through a field, and then now all of a sudden you're not running anymore, you're flying. That totally beats sitting in a trike and leaving the ground. Even when you're up in the air, you have this unobstructed view aside from your knees and the selfie stick. The trike, you've got stuff in front of you. The other thing about foot launch is if you ever want to get into acro stuff, you know, doing wingovers, you can do it on the trike, but I will say I felt very awkward doing some mild wingovers on the trike. One, you don't have weight shift, which the foot launch really enables you to have the weight shift ability. And two, you're in a different body position, like reclined. Loading the G-forces reclined just felt awkward to me. And three, I was just kind of scared that something was going to break, because I know my harness is rated to 15 Gs, and I will pass out before that happens. But on the trike, I don't really know what it's rated for. I'm sure it would be okay, but something about it, I just felt like this thing might just fold in half. Like, I don't know. Another pro for the foot launch is they're generally much cheaper. By the time you add the trike with the wheels and the axles and guy wires and harnesses, it's a bit more expensive. Let's talk about some cons of the trikes. So one big thing that I knew was kind of coming but I didn't expect is that the trike is big and transporting it to the field is pretty difficult. There are smaller trikes, so I'll give you that, but for my trike at least, I've come to the conclusion that I need 2 people to load it in the back of the truck. I've done it by myself, but I get squashed under the thing every single time and it's super awkward. Now the other big one is I think you're kind of limited on your places to launch on a trike versus foot launch for 2 reasons. I found that on average I want about double the distance to do the trike launch than doing a foot launch. The other reason why is I personally don't feel like it's appropriate for me to take the trike to a public park like this. You know, we fly our paramotors at public parks all the time, but there's something about like you're wearing it as a backpack and you're taking off on foot, so it's like not really that big of a deal. But I think if you rolled out this freaking trike onto the grass, people would start, you know, looking at it as you're damaging the grass, or it just looks larger. It looks like it poses more of a threat. Things like that, you know, I'm not going to be flying it from public parks. I think I'm going to stick to airports for now. So that's another huge thing that I think would be a reason why I wouldn't only have a trike. Oh, dude, it's kind of cold up here. Fall is definitely falling. Cons for the foot launch. It's kind of hard to say, but I think the biggest overall con is just accessibility. It's obviously a lot harder to do tandems foot launch, and it's harder for people with disabilities or whatever it may be, limiting factors to foot launch. It's kind of a smaller audience, although I've seen plenty of old people that are in decent shape. You know, if you do the skills right and you have the right gear, foot launching can be accessible, more accessible than you think. Looks like it's time for me to swoop a new boat.
Alright, that was an excellent flight despite it getting kind of cold. But I wanted to say, I've noticed there's quite a few of you guys that are new to this channel, which is awesome. Welcome. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we got the web store, tuckergott.com, where we sell Sweet Risky Biscuits Co. apparel. And we've got shirts like this one. We've got a couple other cool designs in stock right now. Coming up this fall, we're working on a new launch. The fall launch is going to be primarily new sweatshirts and a bunch of them, and we got a pretty cool giveaway in the works as well. So stay tuned for all of that. What's coming up next on this channel, obviously I've been on this trike kick, but pretty soon we're going to be doing trike tandems, and that'll be super cool. Aside from that, if you've watched this whole video, thank you for listening to my thoughts on trike versus foot launch. Thanks for listening to me ramble, and I appreciate your support. I will see you guys in the next episode, whatever that adventure may be. Till then, peace.